I'm telling you from my heart, from my soul, and you're taking all these things that you've learned through your Masonics. You're taking those things and you're guiding your way by that. And I commend you that you're trying to help people to overcome their fears and stuff like that. You cannot introduce people into the spirit world who are not ready, because they would mess up the spirit world as well, right? And when you talk to people about that and your energy, it reaches out, it changes the atmosphere around you. It passes on to other people, right? That's when they feel this love, this immensity of something, and that's how the light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
But it is about exuding this stuff from within your soul that permeates into other people's souls, into their consciousness.
Yeah. I've been part of this for a very long time, and I've learnt a lot of things, and I know how to pick a bullshit artist, and so basically, I pretty much present myself, as I am. As time goes by, we learn more and more, and many things I learned that I was told back then from my spirit guides and stuff. I'm thankful for, my mentors over the years who have taught me.
And that's what I'm saying. When you are going too far in a direction that is not going to embrace people, that's when I bring you back down, feet on the ground, and say, have a think about this, and you do.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you do.
Yeah, you're right. And using the religious part, I realise that that's only for a select majority of people who are interested in the Hermetic stuff. So I found the way to teach this stuff universally, because most people don't have that mindset enough to be part of, that coven mentality and all that stuff, the way I was doing it before. And I thought everyone was nice as I was and as genuine. I realised that most people out there are really full of shit, and they just
don't understand it.
I didn't know that it was so rare to find genuinity out there,
It is very rare. That's why whenever we come across somebody, who's got an understanding, we want to be connected with them, because at least we can talk our stuff. But too many in this world of psychics, right, of mediums, aren't true. They're not true. They teach bullshit. They're not really in tune with the spirit world. They've never even seen in it.
Yeah.
They don't know what's going on. They're teaching superstitious mumbo-jumbo, crystals, tarot cards, and bloody this, that, and the other, and bullshit and stuff, instead of getting across to people what a beautiful feeling comes from connecting with the spirit world.
Yeah, that's why.
And how the worst that have been here have crossed over, and they're so shamed. They spend years and years trying to forgive themselves before they return here. Why do you think it takes some of them so long to return a journey? Because they're trying to forgive themselves for what they've done. They are frightened by what they've done. They don't want to do it again. They try to embrace as much consciousness from the spirit world, so that when they do come back here, that they've got a light bulb there in place, right? But their memory, their soul memory, isn't high enough to restore and keep that here, right? Even though they're giving it as kids. But if they haven't got an adult there who says to them, yes, what you're seeing, what you're sensing, right? Because all children are given that opportunity to see and sense spirit world. Now, if all adults would just say to them, yes, this is like a God thing, but it's all of the people who've lived here who've crossed over, and they're still alive, then children would grow up in a different way and embrace it a lot quicker, wouldn't they? Instead of having fear that it's ghosts and spookies and bad people. Yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
So the world would change a lot quicker, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But it is about the learning curve. You know, there's not one person, not one adult here on this planet who cannot see what is going on. It is their choice what to do with it until the end of time here. And that's when the judgment day, that's what they call the judgment day, that's when some will have to continue to survive with what's here until they all succumb. And those others will be put into a new place at the time when it is right. And the new Garden of Eden, the next Garden of Eden, not the first one, but the next Garden of Eden will be opened up again with those who have reached an understanding. But, you know, there's always something, there's always someone. It starts off well. This earth was a beautiful place before the default, before the dark started to set in. This earth is many, many billions of years old. And the Garden of Eden here started a long time ago. And the opportunities for everyone to live in peace went on for a very long time, right? That things happen and conscious levels change, right? Even with the appearance of spirit world and lights and shining, any way that they could get through, it still wasn't enough to alter that default, that demise that becomes that human existence, right? Because there's always something that can go wrong. But the opportunity is still there, right? Okay? It didn't happen over a period of so many thousands of years. It happened over billions of years. And even science has proved that the biblical teaching, that the Old Testament and the New Testament, why are they in existence? How old is the Old Testament?
A retelling of a much older story.
Well, the fact that the Garden of Eden is mentioned in it, right? It does mean it's telling people, right? I am the Word, right? That, and you know that the spirit world is eternal, right? So this is the trouble with mankind. They will accept when the car salesman says, oh yes, this is a great car. They take it home and a week later the thing's fucked. And they'll go back and they'll listen to the bullshit. But when you try to tell them that the spirit world exists and that you don't die, that you cross over and there's all this place there, right, where people live in harmony and beautiful ways, they won't accept that. Because it's not part of what's been in their teachings that's been ongoing, right? And so it is very hard. But they'll believe in God that they can't see, right, that they can't make anything tangible with, because God doesn't come and pass the messages. It's spirits who come and pass messages.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So if God's something that's unseen, isn't that a contradiction within itself? So people can say, one minute they'll say, oh, God can see me, or God can this and that, and the next minute they're saying, oh, there's no such thing as God because nobody's ever seen him. That the spirit world is showing themselves. Millions of people over all these centuries have seen them, right? But there's always that default mechanism, that default that come into the human genetics, right? Took over. It took over. Right? And that's what happens.
Exactly.
But there's never an opportunity, even today, every day, for people to recognise that there are things going on in their head, right? That they're getting distinct and clear messages everywhere they walk by, oh, you better slow down. And they don't. And there's the radar or something up ahead, or an accident, that they don't go, oh shit, there was something in my head that I should slow down. They don't put it together with that's a message from their soul memory, their consciousness connected with the beyond world. It's how it goes. That's why it is such a slow journey.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember too, most people, they don't know what God is at all. They think God's a man sitting on a cloud, you know, who has a long beard and throws orders at them.
Yeah, because that's how the religions have painted.
They fail to realize that the spirits that visit them and all the other things that are happening and the messages are part of what God is, and because God works on a love level, that's the reason why the spirit world is helping people. It's through love, and that's what God is, and that's what they got to realize. So that's something that I came to realize finally in my life, you know.
Yeah, well, they'd rather believe the politicians who tell you that they're doing good for you, and then when they find out that they're not, they still believe it. They believe the car salesman who sells you a grumpy car, and you go back and they say, oh yes, well, you know, we had no idea. Of course they have no idea. They believe it because that's the negative part is what is taught. The positivity is not taught. People walk around in the doldrums, depressed and sad and lonely and doing more and more of it because they don't look at anything positive. You know, they never look at that their glass is overflowing or their cup is overflowing. They're always going, oh, you know, we want this, we want that. They don't need those things. They can have everything if they can get their act together. But brainwashing over so many years, and it's hard to get out of it. But every day the sun comes up, and every day it goes down, right? And there's the hope. And that's what we're supposed to be giving these people. That energy from within ourselves that will capture their energy and make it feel as if there's something different going on in them, right?
Mm-hmm.
That energy comes from the entire spirit world, right? That connection. And when they start to feel that bit by bit, it lifts them up and their head is that it thinks differently. You know yourself, when you're in a good place, your brain will make better decisions than if you're in a bad place.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But, you know, it's hard because there's so much bad stuff going on. You know, if people stop watching the news, if they stop watching all those nasty murder shows and everything else, and they just spent 1 week going out and looking at the plants and the trees and the sun and enjoying that sort of positivity in their life, you would see a huge change in how they make their decisions. But who's got the time? The polys, the scientists, those rich ones, they keep everybody such a state of racing around and confusion that they haven't got time to even enjoy that anymore. You know? And that's why the end days have to come. They have to. Because, you know, people who work hard, who are good people, they might not be on the highest level, but they have achieved some understanding and they go with that. They might not move any further than that, but they follow the golden rule to a pretty good standard.
Yeah.
They're all tired. We're all tired from this existence. All of us are, you know, we're exhausted from working at it and facing this negativity and this hardship. You know, you need a rest. Can't keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I mean, and I think that myself, and, you know, you are much older, and I feel that now, so
yeah,
I could
It's
imagine.
exhausting, it's intolerable sometimes, but when you know what you've got to do, because that's the only way you keep going. You just keep going, hoping that you change one person, even if it's once in a while, you know. But that giving out of that energy that comes from within, and it has to be pure. It has to be pure of thought. It has to be given, because you actually embrace these other people or this other person into your energy because you want them to feel it, right? That has to be pure.
Yes.
It can't be for any other reason except you want them to go away feeling exceptional, right? On top of the world, and take that energy with them, even if it only lasts them for a day or 2 days. But in that time, changes come within them, right? They think better. They make different choices. They might have to come back into that energy. They may get that energy somewhere else. They may be able to get that energy from their children or from having a cup of tea, because that feeling is there, and they remember that feeling, and it's that feeling that swoops in on them and brings them that calm and that peace within again, and they want more of it. The more you get of that, the more you want of it. You don't want it to go back to where it was, right? Because in that good energy, you felt tremendously healthy and well, and everything was better, right? You weren't sinking into some horrible state where you were trudging around. That's what that energy does. That's what spiritual connection is about.
And that's what we want to do, and that's why I do the messages the way that they do, to be honest. It's the exact reason why I do the messages the way that I do them. Yeah.
Right, as far as what you're putting across to other people. The knowledge, the understanding, that feeling that the beyond world is the safest place.
It's all about the perfection of the spirit world and making, this world a better place by following the golden rule. Well, that's basically what it's about. I mean, I don't...
Well, if you talk about gods and goddesses that have been talked about, people on this planet, remember, they watch Thor, right? Thor, the movie.
I know that.
And they see what those gods, and they see the dark ones, and they see the light ones. And, I mean, wouldn't you be shit scared that there's going to be the bad ones and the good ones around you? The beyond world is not bad. But people
I know they think that.
There are good goddesses and bad goddesses. They're going to believe that that's in the spirit world as well. This is the underworld.
Coming to these understandings, as far as what this place really is. It's the underworld. It's not like the Christians see it, full on stuff
up. Because they're the only ones who talk about God, religion, and Christ. They're the ones who have made people fear and made people misunderstand and made everything an illusion and made things so that they're so confusing that people don't know what to think anymore. It is the church, right? And before the church, the Hebrews had the prophets. But in the early days, the Hebrew priests also wore some black cloth, right, to show that that's what they were. So any priesthood, anything that was designed in the very early days before churches actually amalgamated, right, on a bigger scale, any of those people who preached the Lord's God stuff are all included in the Antichrist, okay?
Yeah.
So who's the beast then? So all this of Hinduism and all this bullshit, don't kill the cow and whatever, they still have a caste system. They still put women whose husbands have died. Look how they treat their people. Look how they live in this modern day and age. They are selling their 8-year-old daughters to 40-year-old husbands who are fucking killing them.
And I'm starting to realise that this place is hell, but that's what I'm saying.
That the beyond world has nothing but love in it. If in spirit world you could do the same things as you're doing here, what would be the point of it? Because there would be nowhere that's better to go. There would be nothing better to look forward to. We know the spirit world exists because we see them. We prove it. Because we don't know the families, the relatives. We don't know the people who come to see us. And we connect with the spirit world, and they say who they are, and they give information. They show what's happened to them. They show connection. And these people go, right, then my grandpa couldn't be dead because she doesn't know my grandpa and she doesn't know me. But this is exactly what he is. This is the things that he said. These are the memories I have of him. So he must be still alive. From there, they reach a different understanding, because everybody goes there, and that is where they look at their hell by their penance, however you want to call it, but certainly not the other. I say to my clients, that is the hell that is touted about. I'm only using that word because of earth teachings. I said it is a place where people go and they must look at what they did so that they can feel it. Because in the beyond world, you have all your emotions, all of them. They all work. You can't run away from them, you can't hide from them, you don't have an illness that protects you from them. So through that conscious level, you understand the pain, the agony, the bad things you've done, the good things you've done, and there is where you pay the piper, where you learn and understand, and you go with that until you are ready to come back here, and hopefully your soul memory connection of that spirit world by way of your gut instinct gives you, that reminder, and as a child you have that reminder. Hopefully that each person that comes back remembers a bit more and a bit more so that they know where they're actually from and the goodness of it. Why the hell would there be anything else when here is such a hard life? You might as well not bother. You might as well kill yourself before you come back here. Because why would anyone want to go to hell and then die and go to another hell and then come back to hell and back to hell and back to hell? Why would they want to do that? What would be the purpose of the beyond world?
Yeah, it sounds like a pain in the
Well,
ass.
if it takes this long for people to get on board, what would be the purpose of a beyond world, of spirits coming back and forth to pass messages on, to say, we're alive, right? We're going to come back in a different body, but we're alive. This is what it's about. Try and tread the good path so that everybody can have peace and harmony and love and kindness. Otherwise, what would be the purpose of having a beyond world?
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the teachers, even the churches admit that there's a beyond world. They say you go into the ground till JC returns, right? People have been waiting for a long time for him to return. And he hasn't returned, so they give up hope. And the churches know that they're going to give up hope, right? And they're going to revert to the chaos and the disconnection. But they know. They just don't teach it, right? They know about the beyond world. They lie about it. Tell me, what would be the point of having a place, or many places, many, the whole universe, the whole cosmic picture, are living in peace compared to having a heaven and hell? What would be the point of it?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And even if that's the case, I can still throw that out the window. Doesn't everyone want to go to heaven?
Well, you'd think so.
Well, they do. Because they go to confession and they believe that if the priest says, yes, do 3 Hail Marys, blah, blah, and you can still go to heaven, that you can go out the next day and kill somebody, but come back and do this and that, and you can still go to heaven.
It keeps people in a trap cycle.
That's right. But all of those people who do the bad things, they still want to go to heaven, don't they? They don't want to go to hell.
No, but they want to keep doing their
But that's why they
things.
go to church to confess, because that's their way out. So where is the common sense thinking in that?
No, there isn't any common sense
No, there
thinking
isn't,
in that.
because everybody wants to go to heaven.
Yeah, I definitely don't teach any of that. And like you were saying, I just have trouble putting into words what I really mean. So I use terminologies that have been used in you know.
Here's your terminologies: the beyond world, the first level where people pass over. That is the, what do the churches call it? Limbo, right? That's your limbo. And here is hell.
That's what I meant. The spirit prison is like limbo.
Yeah, look, the beyond world is the place where everybody and everything is at peace within and without. The limbo plane, if you want to use it, I'm using an earth term, is where you cross over. You look at, it is not hell. The hell is in your heart, because you have not conducted yourself with kindness and with love and generosity, right? And here is hell. Isn't this place fucking hell?
Yeah.
If you're not a politician and you're not a very rich person, then but even they live in hell, because even they have things bad in their life. They have sickness, they have children who suicide, they have children who go off the rails, they have things in their life that's terrible, divorce, dysfunction, drugs and all that. Isn't that still hell?
Yeah,
because
it is.
they're not living in a peaceful existence, are they?
No.
No. So this is hell. Limbo is where you look at what you did in hell, and hopefully you've got enough fucking consciousness that you return with to stop doing that. Because you were given a brain to choose, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be given a brain. There'd be no reason for having a brain. Right? It is all connected. Our consciousness, our soul memory, and the brain to use, to devise with. Okay? There is nothing bad in the beyond world. In limbo, you cannot do anything bad, because all the other levels of spirit world are listening to you, because they can all hear you through your head, through your soul. So how can you plot a plan to do anything wrong when all these good spirits are there connected to you, and they're going, oh, listen to that one, he's trying to do something wrong, or she's trying to do something wrong. If that was the case, if they had powers, if they had this opportunity, there would be, half this planet would be wiped out the first day. The next day, the other half would be wiped out. Because according to thinking, there's all these bad people who can get away with doing whatever. Well, why am I still alive? Well, when you're working with your full conscience that you can't run away from, it fucking hurts, because that's what's leading and guiding you. Yeah. That's what helps you make the choices. That's how you know to do right or wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't it with your consciousness? And your brain is the one that makes the decision. Your brain is the conduit, right? That allows you to decide which way you're going to choose, but it's your consciousness, right, that bears how you conduct yourself here. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Well, say it as it is, because otherwise they give up. Those who have got that much negative energy don't need to have more. They need to be told about the goodness of the beyond world. They need to be told that when you cross over, you can't do anything bad to anybody. This is what happens. Spirits are there looking after everyone who's crossed over, to heal them, to remind them. They have to look at, they're all crying up there if they've done the bad thing. they cry, they're in pain because they hurt their son, they hurt their daughter, they hurt their mother, their sister, they killed their neighbour. They can't run away, they can't hide from that conscience, right?
Yeah.
And the conscience is not bad. It can't be, can it?
No.
Even science knows the conscience cannot be bad, right?
Because the conscience is from the higher overself.
Well,
Yeah.
you know, all the scientific jargon most people won't understand, but the conscience is simply and purely the conscience, right? It cannot be good, bad, or otherwise, right? It is the feeling. The conscience is the emotion, is the feeling, is the sense, is the sensing.
It's the
So
isness.
it all comes from the beyond, from the universal connection, right? From that soul. That's why the conscience is connected to the soul memory, and the brain is where we store the understanding of how to work our life here. And choices, that's all it is, because you make choices every day, right? Even bad people make good choices. So if they can make good choices sometimes, why can't they make good choices all the time?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
something in their life has wrecked them, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so you don't mind if I start sharing this information with other people then? Or the things that you've
No, I
spoken
don't.
to?
As long as you don't get carried away, you speak of it only with the highest regard,
Yeah.
because I don't want the stuff that I pass on to you to be misconstrued or mistaught, because I've told you for years it is about that feeling, the feeling of wanting everybody else to have that beautiful grace feeling, that connection, that you know, that love that is just so overwhelming. And they can only have that if you talk about the beyond world and what really happens there, right? The people who cross over and those that, you know, haven't lived the best way in life that they could have, they are just looking at through the eyes of their conscience, right? Knowing that they were given a brain and that they didn't have to do the wrong thing. It is themselves, within themselves, that they are suffering. It's because they themselves are suffering because they can't run away from their conscience. Right? Their conscience can't be put into a corner. It can't be shut down. They can't pretend to themselves. Right? That's what it's about here. They pretend that they're not really. They lie to themselves. They do the wrong thing and they lie and say, "Oh, but I didn't really do anything wrong." It wasn't a full lie. It was only half a lie. Okay? So that's what they've got to forgive themselves for. That's what they've got to live with and look at. That's why it hurts them. But the beyond world is not making them hurt. This is because they have to learn when they come back here not to hurt somebody else, right? Because when they go back home, they're going to live that hurt. They're going to see it, and their conscience is going to make them feel it, so that they don't want to do that again when they come back here. All right?
Exactly. That's why.
Exactly. Otherwise, what would be the point of a beyond world?
Yeah, I know what it is to feel those things while I'm here, and I was lucky I was given the opportunity to realise what those things felt like. Otherwise, I wouldn't have changed.
Yeah, and that is correct. And because you have changed in your way of thinking, you know, the mediums, you know, cannot possibly know this person who you're connected to and describe the particular messages or information unless that spirit was, you know, alive still. Right? So it does exist. Right?
Yeah.
But don't scare them. Talk to them about how it is there. But it's there, it's their guilt trip that they're dealing with. It's your choice what you fucking do.
Yeah. My grandfather, my dad's dad, before he died, there was men in black that were taking him, dragging him down, and they were hitting him as they were taking him.
Because of what he did.
Yeah. Because that kind of stuck with me since I was a kid.
Yeah, well, you know,
Yeah.
I've heard plenty of people talk about they're terrified because they see spirits come to collect you, right? If you don't recognise a spirit will come with in what they call an angel form. So that because everybody knows about angels, so they're not frightened when they see something, okay? But if you recognise relatives and whatever, a relative will come and take you across. They show themselves before you die. And that's when people know, oh shit, I'm not going into the ground and staying there. I'm not going to heaven. I'm actually going into a world where everybody's alive. And look, I've got to look at all of this and they're going to judge me. Right?
Far out, yeah.
Everybody has to judge themselves here. If they can judge themselves here and walk the path of truth, then they don't have as much to worry about over there. But if you haven't bothered to judge yourself here and what you're doing, then when you cross over there, you're going to judge yourself there. And that when people here don't believe in the spirit world, in life as eternity and never ending, and they think, well, we just go into the ground, and because the church said that all we have to do is say our penance and all is forgiven and we'll go into heaven, well, we'll just wait. But when they see that spirit world is there and that their forefathers or mothers or whatever who come to say, well, you know, your time has come, you know, and they open up the light so that they can see into another place and they go, oh, fuck, right? We haven't got this way. We're going to be going there and we're going to have to be looking at, and all this is, oh, God, what have we done? And their brains start to turn into putty. A whole lot of stuff is going on there. They become frightened, terrorised in their own head, and they come up with all sorts of shit, you know, because they're scared, because they know because they've known all along that they shouldn't have been doing the wrong thing. The judgment day is upon them, there and then. Not never knowing.
Yeah.
Because people who die here who don't believe in spirit world, right, in the existence of eternal life, they really don't know what they believe in. Right? Because once they're dead, right, or before they die, they just think that they're going into the ground and that in 100 years' time, all will rise up again. But there's no time factor. They've been living with this belief system for so long that they don't actually believe in anything. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Because if you've been waiting for JC to come,
yeah,
and he still hasn't come, right?
They lose faith. They lose faith, yeah.
Yes, alright, so that's what happens. They don't know anymore what to believe and they die in fear, right? Because they don't want to die, because they don't know. They don't know anymore, but before they die, they actually see spirits who come to collect them, to let them know not to be frightened, that they're not dying, they're just crossing over. That's when they become frightened, because that's when they go, oh shit, I stole $10,000 from my mother, and that was a no-no, and I knew I shouldn't have done it. Oh, fuck, God's going to have something to say about that, right? They know that they have to atone immediately.
Yeah, well, thank goodness.
Because the connection is already, their consciousness is connected with the spirit world. They're seeing them, they're hearing them. They're also connected to everyone else in the spirit world. Can you imagine how boggling that would be? Like,
yeah.
What a wake-up call, right? All of a sudden they're hearing all these things in their head, and in that instance they know that they are going to have to deal with whatever they have done here, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that is what terrifies them, and they don't necessarily die at that moment, right? Because spirit world can come in 2 weeks before, from my understanding, what it feels like, what it is, the love, the emotion that comes with it, the need for nothing other than that the spirit world provides for me. It makes me keep going in this hard, rotten place.
You are one with infinity.